This is Sam. So yeah, I think this is really good, and it's pretty complicated what you've chosen to do. So it's impressive. There's a lot going on there. I can see that something's gone berserk with his arm. Let's take a look at the my file. Hey, there's a my file. Oh, let's make sure we're at 24 frames a second. Okay. Right. Right. So I'm gonna say that um, a looks like there's some rigging problems, and then let's see if there's some animation problems too. But let me start with the rig. Clearly that stuff's moving with the sweater, so let's open up the rig file and get that stuff fixed first. Okay. Might want really want more geometry around the arm, but I mean it looks all right. So, oh yeah, it was this when we moved this up, right? Yeah, that's not great. Okay. So let's grab these guys, and is that the only ones? I think so. No. Let's just get all these ones that shouldn't be moving with the shoulder. Okay. Right mouse click, paint, skin, weights, double click, and maybe dock this over here. And let's go to the right shoulder. That's left. I'll start here. And I'm just going to work my way down and make sure it's zeroed out on all of these. Everything's unlocked. Replace with a value of 0. Flood. Flood. I'm just checking. Here we go. Flood. Oh, I expected those to move back more. It's probably just putting it back somewhere else. Stupid. I don't know what's happening. I expected these to jump back as soon as I did this. Okay, we might have to be a little bit more clever about this. Great. Right elbow. Yeah, it just keeps passing it back to the wrong joint. So rather than replace with 0, let's replace with 100% to the ones we do want it to go to. And that's going to be show those joints. Maybe that spine joint or the one below it. Let's try this one. Okay. And then got a little sort of stretching thing here, so I just want to have those selected. Well, let's try smoothing a little bit. So could try flooding with smooth. Let's see what happens. No, bad. Maybe that's how that happened in the first place. Okay. So let's take a look here. Seems like this area is an issue. Maybe just right mouse click, select influence. Oh, that's not working. Alright. think this guy and that guy should get a little bit of weight on one of these spine joints, so it's not pulled quite so much. So let's read that one, and I'll add value of 0.1 at a time, which should kind of move that in a little bit. 3. Okay. And maybe this one. Yeah. Not really loving how this is coming out, but it's definitely better. Okay. Well, I don't absolutely love it, but let's just call that good enough. And let's mirror skin weights. Skin, mirror skin weights options across the YZ from negative to positive. So I'll uncheck that, mirror. See how this side's working now. Yeah, same. Okay, good enough. I'm going to save this as fix. I never call anything done or finished or final. I just keep numbering them because they're never done. And then so what's going on with the arms is the big question, and I'm going to go back into the other file, and when I do so, I'm going to replace the reference. So what you'll see is, so see all that pulling there. Now I'm going to go to File, Reference Editor, right mouse click, Reference, replace reference with Fix reference, and we should see that get fixed, I hope. Did it do it? Here we go. Yeah, look at that. Okay, so now the arms. What is going on with the arms? I have this feeling like something's getting twisted around too much with the hand. Let me start with that. Oops, curves, okay. So what's going on with this guy? If we zero out these rotates, still pretty messed up. And this one, what is doing that to the arm? Well, I'm just going to kind of, unfold them, if you will, joint by joint. Already this is interesting because I've just rotated his elbow to 0 and his arm is still bent. So that's a clue to me that something's not right. Some wrong control was used to put. Now, is it this that there's translates on there? Now we're getting somewhere. All right. So I'm gonna delete anything on these. Let's do this. Let's go back. Let's reopen the file. I should save this. That's the problem. It was the translates on the arm. I'm convinced that's where we're going to find the problem. So I'm going to replace the reference again. I'll save the file this time so I don't have to do that again. File, reference editor, select right mouse click reference, replace with fix. Give it a moment. Okay, now already something looks wrong. Oh, we're gonna save this. Okay. That's it. So I'm going to delete all the keyframes off the translates on this. I mean, it allows you to translate that, but I sort of don't recommend it. Okay. So let's get that first pose again. You know, I'm going to stop this right here. This is an animation that should be done with IK hands, I'm pretty sure, because we'll just see what happens later. Well, you've got all that going already, though. Maybe, I'm going to backtrack on that and say you're doing fine, just because. All right, so so what I imagine is we're trying to place this on the lap, and you kind of said hey, it doesn't reach. Well, but then it doesn't reach. If you know what I mean, it's like you can either stretch the arm properly, which I guess is what you were trying to do with this, but I think that's going to get you into trouble. Something else has gone wrong with this too, by the way. I'm going to look back at that again, but I wonder, is there any other weird... Oh, it's okay when it's like that. It just doesn't like to be too twisted beyond a certain point. Yeah, which isn't so great. That's probably like a weighting issue. So the thing is, it is possible to stretch the arm, but what then, the other thing is trying to work with, the pose a little bit more. Get a little more slouchy, kind of curling him like so. You could reposition the head if you want. I know that's pretty slouchy, but now we should have a little bit more. See that now? I'm able to get that hand on there. Right? So instead of stretching the arm, I'm just changing the pose. Then obviously work on the fingers and all that stuff. And let me just make sure everything is keyframed. Okay. So now there should be no keyframes on the translate there. Let's see. Yeah, and so now you're not getting that crazy arm problem. So a couple things to fix. I'll go ahead and save these files on, I'll upload them to your discussion. But yeah, this is great though. I mean, I spent so much time on these little glitches. That whole spin around is really good. I mean, that is no easy task what you've done here, and there's a lot of detail in all of that. So kudos. I think that this, not loving, I feel like just more detail in here, maybe more kind of like a breakdown pose here, maybe a breakdown pose here. It's a little stiff. This is the only thing rotating. So 0 to 35 I think is where you should spend your attention. And okay, this is Zerong. All right. I think conceptually, I really like it. I think that you just need to really work on those poses because you're not engaging with enough of the controls and kind of you know, adding enough detail. Let's take a look. Unfortunately, when I go to open your file, you see you've only turned this as one scene file here, but you've referenced in this file, which you didn't send me, and you've referenced in that file. And so if I look in the reference editor, you can see there's these two missing files that it wants to be able to put the scene together. And you'll notice in the submission directions, I guess I'm missing saying to turn in an archive scene here, so that's my error. But you need to turn in an archive scene if you have things like textures or multiple files. So resubmit as an archive scene so I can look at your scene. But basically you want to add a lot more detail to those poses. Think about how he's shifting weight and moving some of his other body parts. Right now you kind of have the bare minimum moving parts for each pose, and really get the whole body into it and really think about the pose. And if you haven't already done video reference for this, please do so. This is Daisy's blocking. Okay, I'd have to say for one like this, I think you're going to be happier with IK arms, just to kind of be able to push up on the knee and stuff like that. Okay, this is we're in the Maya file now. Oh, those fingers are a little whack, huh? And the way this wrist moves is not going to work. That's sort of some crazy twisting around you got going there. So, oh yeah, there's not that many keyframes anyways. Well, why is there's more here? What are where are those? Oh, like all these right here. Yeah, I mean, it's like I almost might just take those out, because those seem... Yeah, and the fingers seem a little crazy, so I would spend some more time on those. If we want to go to FK arms, we're going to blow away all the... I mean, the IK arms, we're going to have to blow away all the work you've done so far in the arms. I'm going to switch this to 10. But the thing is about this that I like... don't worry about that just yet, that shoulder. Oops. Bracket key will take me to my previous camera. And let's get this helping us out a little bit. That's, points his elbow. Okay. And yeah, his fingers are a little crazy here. So let's get all this back to 0, right? And then, do we want that out of 10? I don't think so. Where's my wrist thing? Here we go. And then let's go back into these fingers and... Oh, that's why. Okay, well, geez. So something's gone wrong with your fingers. So we're going to have to use these controls. Sort of like a handy thing here. Yeah, you might... The shift key works with these too, so I can just go... This is... the other hand. So if I go click that, shift, 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 click on all of these. Let's see. Oh yeah, so we got some of that problem there too. So you'll have to do this a little bit more manually, to get this to where you want it. Yeah, I can see right here, just through the rotate manipulator, how messed up that is. You know, I'm just going to have to grab it like from the middle there. Something went wrong in the rigging stage. Just feels a little late to try to backtrack on that at this time. I mean, it's not really, but it's, you know, just... Anyway. So the good thing about the IK hand here is now that will, let's just select all and say keyframe just to make sure, you know, it'll stay put as he stands up, you know, within the stretching limitations here. And then, yeah, I guess what I would say is we probably want to, oh, there are no keyframes there, okay. You know, maybe here is where he's stretching. I'm just doing this really kind of quick and dirty, but okay, and then, you know, maybe he puts it back on his knee. I can even grab this one, middle mouse click, to update the time without updating the position instead of keyframe there. So maybe he... that to 99. And there you can have it like pushing up off his knee easier with the IK. There's some other, I don't know, something looks a little funny with this stretching here. Are you moving these things? You are. Yeah, I just generally would say don't move FK controls. Generally. I'm gonna delete the animation there, put those back to 0, and we get rid of a lot of that weird stretching. Well, there's more work to be done here, obviously, but those would be, I can't sort of animate this all day, but those would be my general suggestions on that. This would be about here somewhere, etc., etc. Obviously, you have to adjust that every pose, so I'm doing it kind of sloppy, but I think you get the idea. So the fingers are going to have to be done individually with these curves, unless you want to try to fix a rig, which at this just seems late for that at this point. And I think you're going to have a better time with the IK on this arm, but you might be able to do FK. But don't, for you and everybody else, don't be moving all these. Anything that's a circle like this, a blue circle, is FK, and don't be moving FK, just rotate it. Except in rare situations, but I would just say avoid it. It's kind of a cheat. So keep going on that. So this is Xenon, and I'm not sure exactly what's going on here. Looks like a lot of insane camera work. Please do not do that with the camera. Keep the camera very simple, fairly still. And the other thing is, yes, I time and again I've tried to explain, do not animate this circle. Do not animate this circle. Do not animate this circle. Do not animate the circle. You want to move your character, move this. You want to move the... Ooh. Something's broken. Oh, jeez. And the other thing is, you were meant to have referenced in your rig file, but instead, well, that's interesting. Looks like there's another rig file here somewhere. I don't know. Anyways, if you could send me this as an archive scene instead of just a regular MySC file, I could view it better. But please don't do that with the camera. Keep it very simple, just static shots, not moving camera. I mean, you can cut, but don't do all this flying around stuff. And please don't animate this thing. You should move the feet to get the feet to move, and you should move this thing which should be getting the body to move, which is why I'm saying this rig's a little bit broken. But you should be referencing your rig in anyway.